What's up, YouTube? LTH coming at you with another video. 713 to Bio City, we in the building. You know, before I talk about it, about next week game, another AFC South game. Like normally, I don't make preview videos, until like Friday or a day or two before game day. You know, but I just thought I'd try something a little more different this week. And I know got to go through Monday Night Football, which is tomorrow night between the Chargers and Ravens. But I just figured I'd do something different this week. But before I talk about it, the Jags and Texans and Duval, I just want to talk a little bit more about the Titans and Texans. That shit show type performance the Texans put on, which I'm aware of, especially their offense. In that quote, D'Amico said that the Texans did enough, which was a head scratcher, knowing that the defense, even though they gave up some big plays, felt like the defense gave Houston chances to put up more points in the second half when it counted. And not to be shocked about it, they squandered chances. Squandered. And I'll say this like in my last video. Will Levis did indeed outplay CJ Stroud. Never a doubt. Aside from that pick six Levis threw, he outplayed CJ Stroud. Not even denying it. And what pissed me off, man, is that the defense delivered 8 sacks and still lose the game, which, like I mentioned, reminded me of Week 10 when Houston caught 5 picks off Jared Goff and still found a way to blow that 23-7 lead in that Battle Red game. And the 8 sacks, I get it, it's the regular season. The 8 sacks the Texans delivered on the Titans quarterback Will Levis also reminded me of that playoff game between the Titans and Bengals, when the Titans sacked Burrow 9 times and still find a way to lose that game, all because of some dumb turnovers by Tannehill, which, led to them going one and done, thanks to McPherson. It may sound off topic, but I just want to throw that in there. But D'Amico saying the offense did more, did plenty, scored plenty today, was definitely a head scratcher, knowing that the defense was doing all the work once again, And like I mentioned, the defense scored more second half TDs than the Texans offenses have in the last 5 damn games, which is definitely alarming in concerned fashion. And I didn't mention this, but Jeffrey Simmons, Stroud was sacked 4 times. Harry Landry recorded a sack. Jeffrey Simmons recorded him a sack. Who is a stud when consistent and healthy. I actually like Big Jeffrey Simmons, though. Hands down. That dude's pretty nice. Definitely balling when healthy. The offensive line still having issues, and that O-line definitely needs to be addressed in the upcoming offseason, especially at left guard, man, which is still getting fucking abused like a motherfucker. And yeah, anytime offensive line's not protecting the quarterback, it's gonna be hard for Stroud to buy time, which makes life difficult for the quarterback to find an open receiver and make a play. And that's what's been unraveling too throughout much of the season. But that's enough about that. Let's talk about, next week's game between the Jags and the Texans in Duval this time. And there's a chance that Trevor Lawrence do come back from his shoulder injury, but let's talk about this shit. I mean, as bad as the Jags are, I mean, yes, just like today's game, Texans still enduring issues on both sides of the ball on offense in the second half. Because, Stroud, not the same as last year and a sophomore slump, you know. But it's got to be because of, part of it is Bobby Slowick and his predictable ass play calling. And of course Stroud, trying to force the ball and shit, which leads to being picked off and stuff. And of course, Dalton Schultz is not being used enough. I get it. Nico and Tank had solid games against the Titans today, and shout out to Cade Stover getting his first career TD, by the way. Salute to you. But I just feel like the tight ends aren't being utilized enough, all because of Bobby Slowick not putting the offense in position to score points when it counts the most. So, part of my concerns going into next week's game against the Jags, and then to mention the fact that, Joe Mixon was held in check, and Jalen Petrie, he went down with a pectoral injury versus Tennessee, which is a blow to that Texan defense. I mean, he was playing better than compared to last season. I mean, hopefully it's not too serious, but it will suck if he's out long term, which could be season ending, but only time will tell. And I gotta say, what does the Texans need to do to get their head out of their own asses and start winning on a consistent basis? Well, it starts with being more efficient in the second half and scoring 7 or more points at that. Because, again, this team had no problem scoring points in the first half, but once that second half hit, it's a tale of two halves for the Texans. And the running Joe Mixon and Stroud got to bounce back big time. I mean, Slowick got to put the offense in better positions. And though I'll be happy when he's gone after this year. I mean, yeah, I was pretty excited for Slowick to be back, but god damn, the way he's been holding his offense back, I mean, it's just like, oh man, I can't wait till he's gone. But the tight ends got to be utilized a lot better than today's game versus Tennessee. I mean, you signed Dalton to a 3-year extension. I know Schultz hasn't been productive this year, but I also feel like he's not being utilized enough. And yes, he had his share of missed opportunities, but hey, that's just what it is. Nico and Tank got to do their thing. Got to keep stepping up to the plate. Even through these hard moments. And John Mechie got to get more reps. Hell, even Xavier Hutchinson got to get him some more reps as well. Hell, even get Robert Woods involved. Let CJ, utilize his receivers. Outside of relying on Nico Collins to make the big plays. Because defensive coordinators have been figuring out Stroud in that offense, thanks to some tape they have on him. Because last year, there was no tape on Stroud. This year, there is tape on Stroud. And safe to say, opposing defenses have been making life hell for Stroud. And I gotta say, what I've learned, this Texans team does not have a killer instinct. Hell, this team hasn't had a killer instinct throughout their entire existence as a franchise, if you ask me. But yeah, the offense got to do a better job of scoring 7 or more points in the second half, and got to got to get off to faster starts, man, on both sides of the ball defensively, and of course, ball security, which hasn't been too good for Houston, because every game for the past 5 games, Stroud has thrown a pick, in which he did. I am aware he threw 2 picks today versus Tennessee. So, gotta find a way to minimize the turnovers and the dumbass penalties, man, that is still hunting the Texans from reaching their full potential. Now, on the defensive side, gotta limit some big plays and, of course, create turnovers and stuff. Because they did deliver 8 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 pick six, still find a way to lose. So, defense is still pretty good, but can't keep relying on them to bail them out though, because offense can't sustain drives. Defense gonna start getting tired, and I gotta say, any elite offense would cook the hell out that Texans defense. Such as Lamar Jackson, for example, or Pat Mahomes. Hell, even Josh Allen would cook that defense. I'm just throwing out some examples though, but gotta deal with Jacksonville though. Either they're playing against either Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence, but only time will tell. But this team has to be more disciplined, man, because 11 penalties won't win you. 10 plus penalties won't win you every game, win you no games. On both sides of the ball. Has to be more disciplined if they hope to bounce back and win next week versus Jacksonville. And of course, every sack and forced turnover matter in a way. Every way at that. Every snap, every touchdown, every forced turnover and sack matter. But if next week ends up repeating like a revolving door, it's safe to say that I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville finds a way to beat the Texans next week, which will drop Houston to 7-6, because Houston has had opportunities to expand their AFC South lead, and thanks to some second half inconsistencies, Texans, still hold a 2-game lead for dear life. Hell, they couldn't have been in a better position to wrap up the division had they been more consistent in the second half on offense. But here we are. 75, still up 2 games. Hell, Trevor Lawrence, if he plays, he could cook the Texans defense, but, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson did their thing today. Need them to do their thing next week. Hopefully they can get Fatukasi back, this week. Next week, I should say. Because it would be, I say that defensive line will be, officially healthy for sure at full strength. And, hopefully nobody else besides Petrie got hurt. Because I get it, injuries are a part of the game, but, key injuries does hunt any team for sure, including the Texans. So, key to this game is, better discipline, more efficient in the second half. And of course, eliminating the big plays through the air and on the ground, which is part of stopping the run. And in the time of possession, keep the Jags defense on their heels. So, No, hopefully they can bounce back, man. I hope they truly bounce back and finally get their head out of their asses. But if not, they're gonna be even more trouble for what they are already in. So that's I just thought I want to drop my 2 cents on next week's game between the Jags and Texans. But before I conclude this video, gotta shout out UCF Jaguar, Jagging Off, and Jaguar Man. And yeah, let's see what happens next week. Till my next video, LTH checking on the body here, 7